Hey guys, we're going to be back with week 7 games, looking at Clutch Gaming. So Clutch Gaming is in a really tight spot right now. A lot of people are pretty convinced that they are, in quotes, realistically out of playoffs. And that is a pretty good argument considering they do have to play C9 and Team Liquid, I believe, next week. Clutch Liquid and followed by Clutch Golden. Okay, so they have Liquid next week. We have C9 the following week, or oh wait, and they have TSM. Okay, so yeah, they are in a really tight spot. So yeah, two weeks left in the split. What can they do to get all of those points? And they realistically need all of those points to have a chance at getting in playoffs. But today we're just going to be looking at the game versus Flyquest. Is this the right game? Any LCS? The 9th week 7 Clutch Flyquest. Yeah. Okay, so this is Saturday's game. Let's go ahead and get into it. Oh. So Clutch Gaming banning Riven. That's definitely an attack at Viper. They banned Zoe, tier 1 mid, and they ban Aurelia, meaning that they don't actually have a plan on picking Aurelia. And my dog is very angry. I don't know why. Cassiopeia ban, good flex, also very popular from Clutch Gaming. Nico ban. So this might have something to do with that Nico build, the on-hit Nico build. I've seen this, it's pretty nasty. I personally don't have an opinion that's beyond, yet again, people have figured out how to abuse something that was actually not intended. So yeah, Nico, I think she was just hotfixed. It was not intended for something like that to happen. Like Blade of the Ruin King on Nico, no. What the hell? And then J-Span, because it's still pretty strong on blue side. Clutch Gaming start off the draft with Alistar. Vulcan on Alistar is pretty strong. Flyquest decide to respond with Braum and Lissandra. So I don't think the Braum pick is particularly amazing, but it's also extremely useful if they plan on picking other things in the draft later, such as this Jinx that I see. But it's also pretty decent into Alistar. You generally pick Braum into tank supports. Like Braum is really good into Tahm Kench just because it's really easy to start abusing some of those tank supports, and you can end up denying a lot of the trade damage that they would normally get when they go in. Anyway, the Lissandra pick is interesting. Lissandra is a flex into top sometimes, and I think that Flyquest was thinking about that here, or they were just picking it because they prefer hiding their jungle pick, which is a little interesting. They're giving Pobelter kind of like any lane, but with Jace not in the game, Lissandra not in the game, Aurelia not in the game, and Zoe not in the game, there's not really a whole lot of stuff that you can pick into Lissandra and have it be particularly annoying. So that's fine. Clutch Gaming go ahead and they pick Rise. So this will be a 9.4 Conqueror Rise, unless, I mean, he could go Aftershock, but I don't think that would be the best. And then Karma. So Karma, I'm assuming that's for Huni. I would assume that that's for Huni just because Karma top lane ends up being pretty oppressive. It doesn't really lose to almost anything. I suppose you could play something like Victor into it, or it's possible that Flyquest used this Vladimir here, and it's okay, but Karma is still extremely oppressive, has a lot of pushing potential, and can end up being a bruiser, and if she gets AP, then her passive, well, her ultimate on her shield is much more useful late game. So Flyquest go ahead and they pick Jinx before the second ban rotation. So Jinx as a backline carry is a little bit undervalued as a carry. Then again, you don't see a whole lot of hyper carries in NALCS, or at least from what I understand. I don't watch that many games. So it's interesting to see a long range hyper carry get in here, because their laning phase is not always amazing, but really it's just about pushing with rockets and trying to conserve mana, and trying not to die, most of all. So second ban phase comes out, Lucian and Callista come out from Flyquest, because these are things that can definitely abuse the Jinx. And then bans from Clutch Gaming include, I'm sorry, Yorick and Aatrox. So Yorick and Aatrox, both things that you would expect to go in the top lane that could possibly be annoying against Karma. Even something like Yorick could possibly be, could push the lane in the mid game and end up actually winning the mid game push against Karma. And I'm not sure how that would scale, because I don't. Karma ends up getting to a point where she's incredibly hard to kill if you don't have that much burst. But she won't be able to get a whole lot of push on that. And my dogs actually are making me want to die. I don't know what they want. Okay, so after second ban rotation, you see Nocturne come out. Nocturne is really interesting here. One, because Clutch Gaming has picked two immobile solo laners really early on into the draft, and then they let Nocturne through. I found it really interesting that they didn't decide to split bans. I don't think Aatrox was something that was really necessary as a ban. And I don't know. I feel like when you have two solo laners early in the draft, Flyquest doesn't have a jungler yet. It's kind of simple. It's kind of by the book to go ahead and pick Nocturne, because it's very abusable. It's very easy to abuse solo laners with no mobility like that, especially when you have something like Lissandra on the table, where you can move Lissandra onto either of them, and wherever Lissandra is, Nocturne's going to get a kill, and that can make the game. That can make a win condition that's extremely easy for Flyquest to perform, and even if they don't win just off of that, then now they have a late game hyper carry with a Braum. So extremely good draft coming out from Flyquest. And this doesn't look bad from Clutch, but it does look like it's turning into a 1-3-1 that doesn't want to end up losing those early leads. And if they lose any kind of lead or let Nocturne become a problem, then it would be difficult for them. So second, our final pick rotation for Clutch Gaming is going to be Kai'Sa and Rek'Sai. Okay, so Rek'Sai can win any matchup in the jungle, almost. I think Rek'Sai just can beat Nocturne. Rek'Sai can definitely invade Nocturne and become a really big issue for him, because Rek'Sai can take the advantage of saying, okay, well, you were trying to power farm and I don't want you to hit level 6. I want you to hit it later. I want you to be less useful. I want you to have less damage. I feel as if this is a really risky pick. It definitely puts a lot of weight on Lyra, but it's not a bad idea, because there's not a whole lot of things that you can pick into Nocturne. A lot of people have told me that Shyvana is actually quite a good pick into Nocturne. Pretty good with counter ganking, can power farm, can take dragons really easily, can counter jungle really quickly. Rek'Sai, because he's come back into the meta and this is with 9.4 Conqueror, could possibly be pretty strong. But I still think Rek'Sai is something where if you don't win really fast, then the game's probably over. But looking at Flyquest draft up at this point, it does say that, like, if they can deny the Nocturne from being strong, Lissandra doesn't get a lead, then they can win fast. But if you're going to pick Rek'Sai, I wouldn't really also pick Kai'Sa. I would pick something else that's early game, or mid game. So Lucian and Kai'Sa are out. You could pick Sivir. You could pick That's tough. That is really tough. You could pick in a different style of bot. Like you could pick Yasuo. I'm pretty sure we've seen Piglet on Yasuo, at least solo queue. And he seems to like the bruisers. You could also pick Ezreal. This would not be a bad Ezreal game. And that is tough. There is not a whole lot of other options. I'd have to go check on that. I will put it in the comments if I have any other ideas later, or the description. So Flyquest end their draft with Vladimir, who I assume that they're going to send top lane against this Karma, and he's just going to try and farm. So late game for Flyquest is super strong. But honestly, it's like impossible to lose late game unless they screw up really bad. And then Nocturne Lissandra is their tempo. They're going to play mid game through Nocturne Lissandra, and wherever Nocturne Lissandra is not, they should not be doing anything. Clutch Gaming says, okay, we're going to 1-3-1. We have a little bit of late game insurance just in case. But we're really just going to focus on playing around Rek'Sai and where Rek'Sai can go, and playing around pushing strong solo laners. Caitlyn. You know, Caitlyn would not be bad against Jinx, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe if you wanted like a third pushing lane who was like not super weak to Nocturne, then you could definitely go with Caitlyn, and then they could play really off of just so much pressure in the early where Nocturne can't gank. And because they can just pressure everywhere without Nocturne being able to gank, they can go ahead and get a lot of turret plating in most lanes before about the 7-minute mark, before Nocturne gets his ultimate. Okay, so I'll probably speed this up. Yeah, I feel like Kai'Sa's a weird pick because it's probably something that Piglet's really comfortable on, even though I don't really like Piglet playing Kai'Sa. I feel like he makes a lot of aggressive calls that are like really unnecessary. Like, hey, I'm Kai'Sa, I can just R in. I feel like that's how he plays. I think it's really unnecessary. So definitely we see some interesting pathing coming out from Nocturne. No idea what that guy's saying. We see Rek'Sai going in. He's going to try and get double golems. So Nocturne, not when Nocturne returns top here, he's not going to have anything to do. If assuming that Flyquest didn't see him, so that's extremely good for Clutch Gaming because they don't want Nocturne to have anything to do. Yeah, you see Santorin moving now towards his top side. He wants his golems. He's not going to have them. He's going to hit level 6 slower. It's also a large point of income to go ahead and take golems. So it definitely ruins his top lane or his level 6 pressure. Huni making an extreme. This is wrong. Okay, I didn't say anything about the mid gank because this looks really standard. Ryze EW'd, it's a 2-second snare. Lyra walked in because he's in the river. It was really simple. Now, if you know that Nocturne's top, like I think Nocturne doesn't see his golems. Whoa, no. The replay actually lies to us a little bit. So we're gonna just look at. Sorry, you can't pause when you want on YouTube. Okay, so Nocturne's actually walking right through this ward. So Nocturne just realized that he doesn't have Golem, so he's got to figure out what he can do. He's on the top side of the map. Race is the first camp that he cleared that's going to respawn. He probably understands already that Rek'sai has top scuttle, so there's nothing for him to do in the next minute, maybe just 45 seconds. So we see Cooney walk towards this. He's basically spoon feeding the Nocturne, because Nocturne doesn't have anything else to do. You don't have any vision. Maybe you want vision, but you don't have mana. You're basically saying that you're gonna waste your flash because you're moving into a zone where you know that an enemy was and they have nothing else to look for. This is completely and utterly irresponsible. So now Huni actually won't have flash when Nocturne has ult, and he will be the first target. Assuming that Lissandra can just roam up with ult as well, and they just dive him under tower, definitely first target. Even if he's winning his lane, because it's not Viper's job to like win lane on Vladimir. It's Viper's job to just farm. It was a little weird. Rek'Sai has a smite here. So does Santorin. But Rek'Sai's level 5. I feel like you can just, if you have Alistar here, you can just take this wolf. Because you see the bottom laners, they're farming and pushing out bot. So like they're not gonna rotate on you anytime soon. It's gonna take Rek'Sai a Q smite to kill the wolf. And like what can Nocturne do? Walk forward and then have Alistar knock him over the wall? Like Alistar's just gonna run away. And then you also have Damonte. So I don't know. I feel like you can be a little bit more aggressive there. Maybe they don't want to, maybe they feel uncomfortable, but it's not a bad idea. It's really important to like use the information that you're given. They are given information by the enemy all the time. The wards give you information on what the enemy is doing, where the enemy is. And your minions as well. Someone's farming them, so you have to know where they are. That was a good engage by Vulcan, but it really doesn't do anything against the Braum. Like, they actually lost that trade in terms of damage. So, I said 7-minute mark. We knew Nocturne was going to get his ult a little late. It's still past 7:30. This is irresponsible. Let me see what Damonte was doing. Yeah, he already had all these minions killed. I don't know what he's doing, like, moving forward. Because if you look at his map movement, we can't actually see him, and I think that's really sad. But, oh fuck. If you look at his map movement, he's moving forward, and there's no reason for him to be moving forward. He doesn't have Rek'Sai near him. Rek'Sai's actually trying to make a play on top. So cross map, Nocturne. If Nocturne hits ult, it's going to be going mid. If he's just happens to be closest to mid, and mid's easy to him. Like, it's not even that. Like, I did say it would be easy for them to go ahead and kill Karma, but Nocturne just got ult like less than 30 seconds ago, and he's putting himself in a really dangerous position. Like, any form of CC stops his ultimate, and that's his major form of escape. He doesn't actually have any real mobility. So when he puts himself this far forward, it's really, I don't know, it's just really awkward. Like, there's no reason for him to be there. He obviously is playing really greedily for turret plating. He doesn't have his jungler nearby, and he knows Nocturne should now be level 6. He puts himself in a really vulnerable position, and enemy jungler trades Flash for Damonte's summoners, and then they end up killing Damonte, and then Damonte loses his lead in the mid lane. So that's really irresponsible. Why are you trying to 2v2 this? You do not pick Kai'Sa to 2v2. That is not, like, maybe if the enemy is like bad. But like Kai'Sa has no damage. On top of the fact that they had to target Braum through Braum shield. I don't know why that's happening. Like, that shouldn't be played like a 2v2 lane. Lyra? That was odd. That was really odd. I don't really know what I just saw. So here's actually a replay of what I wanted to see. Damonte was here. Damonte walks all the way here to try and push Lysandra out of lane because he feels like he has pressure. He doesn't have a jungler, and Nocturne just now hit level 6 on these wraiths. Very, very, very... I can't even call it unfortunate because at 7:45, like at 7 minutes, you should be worried that the enemy jungler has, if he's farming, like if he's farming optimally at 7 minutes, he's gonna have level 6. But now it's 7:45, so definitely something he should be worrying about. It's really strange how Clutch has this habit where they don't clear vision that much. Like, we had a pink ward here for a long time. They don't really check their own jungle for vision, even though it's really important. And I understand that Clutch is one of the lower tier teams. Like, they're just now getting like fundamentals on macro, like somewhat okay. If that was his freebie. This is horrible. That, like, Clutch is just not getting anything done in anywhere. Like, Hooney's doing fine. Hooney should be doing better. Like, Hooney should be doing a lot better. He lost a flash early for no reason. Monte takes his freebie here. He doesn't get another one of those. He's not gonna have Zhonya's for a long time. Because the 2v2 bot went so bad. Like, look at this. This when they died? When? No. What happened? They got pushed out of lane due to pressure. Lysandra roams bot, so bot lane has to back off. And because the Lysandra and Nocturne are strong now, for getting just a little bit ahead, and for how they built early, like you see Lysandra going immediately into Blasting Wand. They can just move out of the map, move out of vision for a little bit, and Piglet and Vulcan are forced to respect that. Yeah, so they lose their turret. So Fly gets free first blood turret. So I think the real question right now is like, what can CG do to win this game? But they're kind of far past like their win condition. They do have a Rift Herald that they got for free, and they're trying to get turret plating with it. But if this turns into a 2v2, I'm not actually sure who wins. I think it depends. Did no one get the turret plating? Huni got it, right? No, it didn't. No one actually got the turret plating gold. Unless Lyra got it. For spawning the Rift Herald, but it might not show up. That should be 360 gold. No, no one got it. That's horrible. Or 320 gold. So no one actually picked up the Rift Herald gold because no one, or the turret gold because no one was close enough. And because Lyra was actually so far away from Huni, he was in a dangerous spot. Like, this is obviously miscommunication. I don't know how it's miscommunication. Like they don't know where Nocturne is. That's pretty clear. They actually see Nocturne here. Right here. You might see him when he gets here. DeMonte is spam pinging that, right? Or no, that's a lot of other pings from Braum. But he pings and he says Lysandre's actually going to be moving up. So Lyra puts himself in a point where he can actually get engaged on from 3 different locations. So Lyra's here. So if he gets engaged on from here and he can't move here, and then he also is getting flanked here, he's actually in a spot where there's just nothing to do. If this were a game of chess, Lyra would be, you know, a sacrificial pawn that actually didn't get anything done. CG makes a nice rotation to follow, but because they make that rotation, they end up losing a whole lot of turret plating on mid lane right before turret plating goes down. Piglet's getting free farm in the bottom lane, but he's still behind Wild Turtle. This game's kind of blowing out of control. Like, not getting turret plating from the Rift Herald is huge, especially when you wanted it on Huni. Like, you wanted it on a split pusher that was going to make it useful, because you want your 1-3-1 to be so strong. Even if 1-3-1 like isn't that great against Nocturne, just because there's really no one that can not die to Nocturne. So this is tough. CG's win conditions are failing because they didn't play the early game safe enough, and I really would have not liked the Kai'Sa pick here. Or I mean, maybe something else. Like if you picked a jungler that was going to like not pressure solo lanes as much and be able to pressure bot, which Rek'Sai could have. Like Rek'Sai could play for bot. But you still probably wouldn't want Kai'Sa because you'd want someone to what am I trying to say here? If you pick Sejuani, Kai'Sa is actually really nice because that gives you a whole lot of tanginess for the late game, and then Kai'Sa can become a backline carry that's really strong. But I don't think that's what CG was playing for. CG is playing for like, oh, Kai'Sa can be useful. Possibly they can get something done with Alistar in the bottom lane, but that's actually not part of the plan. The plan is push solo laners and use Rek'Sai to get Nocturne behind and push forward the solo laner's tempo, and then be able to carry that into a mid game. At this point, like CG just doesn't know what they're doing with themselves. So CG has Rek'Sai bot. Fly has Vladimir top. Vladimir flanks or intends to flank bot, like the bottom side of mid lane, because they get baited onto a Braum who has stopwatch. Really well played by JJ. But why is this being done if you don't have if you don't even have close to all of your resources? Like the nice thing that happens for them is that Vladimir isn't able to flank and just destroy all of the resources that they use to spend on Braum. Like, because Lyra and Damonte happen to encounter Vladimir as soon as he finishes his teleport. But they still trade nothing for something, or something for nothing. Like, I understand that their win condition isn't working for them. And maybe getting a pick is okay. Like, getting a pick would definitely open up pressure, and then they can start the 1-3-1. Maybe they can get a turret, or at least turret damage. They can open up time to scale more into the mid game, because the mid game is where they're really strong. Like Rise becomes a monster at about level 13. So I'm not really sure what they want to do, but it's not helping them if they're not even paying attention to the resources that the enemy has. Like, they didn't think about whether or not Braum had a stopwatch. They just thought, like, oh, we see Braum, let's try and catch him, even if we have less resources, even if we have less people, and even if we don't exactly have the tempo or a whole lot of vision. So, like, you know, vision, like, clutch, like, vision game, bad this game. Following win condition, bad. Draft is more like, it's okay. I can see why they would think that drafting this is okay, but I don't. Like, I could see why someone else could think that, but I don't. I think that CG always has success playing when Damonte is on a farm champion and Lyra's playing for the side lanes. Lyra's playing for Piglet and Huni. And then Damonte ends up being a team player in the mid game. Like, that was obviously not the draft this game. So, and then you just see the same like silly errors that come out in like almost every game of Clutch. Like, Piglet tries to probably called that play, he wanted Vulcan to fight that 2v2. I mean, maybe Vulcan was like, hey, maybe we can kill Braum. But honestly, just getting Braum's flash there was probably fine. As long as both Vulcan and Piglet lived. Because all they want is so that Fly has less resources to actually be aggressive. Damonte pushing really far up in mid lane when he knows Nocturne is going to have ult, and then he's against Nocturne Lissandra. How do you get away from that? And Huni's like losing flash in the early game, even though he knows Nocturne is top lane. Like, I understand, like, it's really odd. Like, why would Nocturne gank me when I am when he's not level 6? But big error by Flyquest. How do you do this? I really want to know. So we are in the mid game. So Rise is really strong. So Damonte wants to carry the whole game by himself. Let's see him do it right now. He gets an immediate engage on Wild Turtle. He just junks him, half his health. That's okay. Let me look at this from Fly's perspective. Wild Turtle walks right by an entrance point to the river without being in front of somewhere else, like without being in front of Braum Shield. This is actually Wild Turtle just inting. Pobelter's still top lane because he says, hey, we're probably not supposed to fight right now. Unless he's planning on teleporting, which I guess is okay, but like, you want to teleport like 5 feet? I guess, you know, whatever floats your boat. Remember, this is Fly's not that great of a team either, so that's okay. And then Vladimir wants to flank the bottom side. They don't have any vision of this entire area. They just cleared vision here. So this is all blue for them. They have no idea what's going on in this zone. Wild Turtle gets one tapped by Damonte because Damonte's on his mid-game power spike. They don't have a carry for the fight because Wild Turtle's actually a lot of the damage. Vulcan shows that he's still probably one of the best Alistars in the NALCS, and then Clutch Gaming win a fight. So does this change a whole lot? Not really. I wish I could say this actually was like super amazing for Clutch Gaming. This was Flyquest making a really bad mistake, and Clutch Gaming jumping on it. But like, think about what Clutch Gaming has gotten this game. They got 1 Rift Herald, and Fly's gotten 3 Dragons. They're already at 25 minutes, and they're not at a lead. They're actually at a disadvantage of 2,500 gold, and that's not counting stats from Fire Dragon. This is literally just part 2 of what happened earlier. Monty doesn't have Flash. He does have Zhonya's. He's tier 1 boots at 25 minutes. They try to make a pick onto Vladimir. That seems strange, if anything. And then Damonte's pushing mid and just gets jumped on and dies. So let's imagine the situation differently. Let's imagine if Rek'Sai was here, and then Alistar and Kai'Sa and Karma were here. So Rek, Rest. However I would like to abbreviate that is fine. Rek is trying to keep Vladimir at bay. Rest actually converges onto Ryze when Ryze uses Zhonya's. That would make this fight at least fightable. Not having Ryze is actually Ryze is all of your damage. Like, Kai'Sa does some damage, but until Kai'Sa has multiple items, she will not actually be useful. Anyway, that would be a 3rd Water Dragon going to Flyquest, but it's really just going to be Baron. Everybody on Flyquest is like, yeah, this game's easy. Everybody on Clutch is like, yeah, I don't know what just happened. Like, you can't kill a Vladimir without any of your damage tools. Rek'Sai actually probably does more damage than Kai'Sa right now, considering Kai'Sa actually stopped her build to build a QSS. So what is Fly gonna do? Are they gonna force Minihib, or are they gonna try and 4-1? Their 4-1 is fine. That was actually misplayed by Viper. Interesting. Okay, so CG pulls the old, we're gonna kill the split pusher. Flyquest tries to actually respond to that, and they end up losing a big amount of pressure. But in return, they actually still get the inhibitor. Flyquest says, okay, we want to defend towers instead of trying to just give them, because at this point they don't really matter. The closer you get to the 35-minute mark, Jinx is already at the point where it doesn't really matter if you're at 35 minutes or not. Once she starts building her last item, she's gonna be unstoppable in the backline. And if you can't get on top of her, she's gonna win the fight by herself. But like, Lissandra dies for no reason for outer turrets, which are worth like 500 gold, maybe like 50 local gold. Maybe it's 150 local gold. It's not a lot. It's very, very little amount of gold that gets spread amongst the team. 125 gold a person. So very strange that Flyquest goes ahead and makes those errors, but then again, this game is a mess. Like, it's a mess from both sides. It's really disappointing to watch. Flyquest is just waiting for a Baron because they know that if they take control of the river, vision control, then they're able to just play for Wild Turtle and probably win any fight, even around Baron. Dragon's also going to be up. It's going to be a Cloud Drake. It's pretty negligible for both teams. It's not going to make the difference. They send Viper to go ahead and check it out. Looks like they can make a flank on mid lane if they really wanted to. Fly try to contest the push. That was a really horrible engage, but they did get Viper in there and they get pulled on a flank. That's a mess. This is actually a mess. They forced this really hard when it wasn't actually necessary. So Flyquest has the tempo to just take control of the river, deny all of the vision from Clutch, and say, hey, you want to come check and see if we're doing Baron? Maybe we're doing it, maybe we're not. And it doesn't really matter if we're doing it or not, because you becoming pressured when we already have your middle inhibitor, and we have other lanes pushed, means that we can just do whatever we want, and you have to come to us. You know, you play CSGO, you walk around a corner, and someone shoots you in the head. You play CSGO, and you're sitting in one spot, and someone walks around the corner, and you shoot them in the head. So, Flyquest is saying, we're just going to sit and wait. But instead, they actually say that they're going to make the first move, which doesn't really even make sense to me. But they decide to make the first move onto that Karma. So Karma's in the river. Just because Vladimir is on top of Karma. So then Vladimir gets an okay engage, and Pobelter's looking for a flank, and Pobelter flashes in to get rid of Rise, so that Rise is not actually part of the fight. That's perfectly fine. Then they actually use Karma and Summoner spells to go ahead and get away. So this is by no means like a closing from Flyquest. It does allow them to go ahead and assure themselves that they can go ahead and take Baron without any real issues, if they wanted to. Seems like they want to end the game. If they wanted to end the game, they should have gone for a much better engage. Like, Pobelter should be much closer to the fight. Shouldn't be this messy. Not a single person on Fly had to die. Anyway, yeah, this is a quick game. This is a 33-minute game where Clutch Gaming may have played like really early, like okay, but there was actually not a point in which Clutch Gaming had a real advantage. Their only real advantage was giving Damonte a kill, and then Damonte actually lost that lead by just disrespecting the enemy jungler. CG tried to pressure any of the dragons. They did get a Rift Herald that was actually not useful to them. Piglet and Vulcan lost their lane really hard. The matchup was also not very good for bottom. Huni lost his flash for free. They did rotate top to get a free kill, but they're still behind in gold at this point. Like, this is a mess. This is where the game really got cracked open. Lyra puts himself in a position where he actually cannot leave. He's just dead. They don't get the Rift Herald gold. They don't even end up getting that tower until later. They have to return top lane to go ahead and get it. And because they have to return top lane to go ahead and get it, Fly goes ahead and tries to set up vision. Because they want the dragon. Fly gets a second dragon for free. Jinx is actually accelerated a lot, which is a problem. You don't really want a hyper carry to be so far accelerated. CG go for a bad pick by not understanding the resources that the enemy team has. Braum has stopwatch, and they only have 3 people here when it's a possible 4 or 5 from the enemy team if you count the teleports. They don't even really have that much vision. They just have some river vision. And they know that the push is even. So this is a really strange game from Clutch Gaming. Losing inhibitor tower at 18 minutes means that something clearly did not go the way that you wanted it to, or the way that you expected it to. And I understand that's fine, but like a comp like this, I feel like relies way too much on your team being extremely good. And I reluctantly say that that's not the case. Like, you're not allowed to make errors and stuff when you draft something like this. Like, you want, like, Piglet even takes press the attack. This is like, oh, we're gonna try and pressure bottom lane, maybe. We're gonna try and pressure whichever lane gives us anything that's free. We want to try and get all of the leads that we can. We want to try and make sure that Nocturne's not able to do anything. Like, CG even tries to cheese a Baron while there's a Fire Dragon on the table. Fly gets a free Fire Dragon and they try to cheese a Baron. Like, this is not standard League of Legends from CG. They need easy comps that are preferable to their play style, and I have identified their play style every game where they draft this way. They win. They draft for Huni, and they draft for Piglet. And they draft someone that's Vulcan's really comfortable on, because Vulcan's a really good player. Demonte scales. So Vulcan can roam. Lyra plays for side lanes. Demonte scales. That's it. That is the CG plan. That is not the CG plan this game. In fact, it's really far from the CG plan this game, and it's a mess. And they get destroyed by a team that's frankly horrible. Like, Flyquest made so many errors this game that are odd, including this. This was like Wild Turtle actually inting. So I don't think that CG was very prepared to play this game. I don't think they were prepared in draft, and I don't think they were prepared to play the game with the draft that they were given. Huni might have. Like, Huni looked like he was really fine playing Karma in top lane. He just forgot about the Nocturne being top, even though he saw Nocturne top like 3 seconds before. So, you know, I'm not gonna blame Huni. I'm not gonna blame Vulcan, but those other guys did not pull the weight that they needed to. We need Lyra to pull more weight. We need Piglet and Demonte to pull more weight. If you draft like this, if you don't draft like this, then things are different. And this is also just strange. Okay, well that's enough rambling from me today. I might actually get the other video done later today, if possible. And we might have a 2-video day rather than me coming out with the Sunday's game tomorrow. And then, but you know, if I don't get it, if I do get it today, it'll be really late. It will come out very late. And then Sunday's video, we'll release, that is CG versus CLG, another team that's on the bottom of the table, in which Clutch Gaming actually pulls out the win. Alright, well, thank you for watching. You guys have a nice day. You can contact me if you want any kind of coaching for, you know, your personal team, or just you in solo queue. Solo queue video did come out yesterday. I'll see you in the next video.